The CMMG Mk47 Dissent. Let's check it out. CMMG is a very innovative company, and while they really work a lot around the AR-15 platform, they come up with some really cool, innovative designs. Their radial blowback system makes shooting a 9mm, 10mm, whatever, just very soft to shoot, even though blowback is typically kind of harsh. But they also have a number of different calibers that they come out with. And one of the guns, though, that has been one of my favorites with the CMMG was the Mutant. And it was the Mk47. It was in 7.62 by 3.9. Love shooting that gun. Takes the AK-47 mags. Honestly, it's an AR-15 that's just been adapted to use AK-47 mags. Now with the Dissent, it's also in the Mk47 line, but this is a totally different type rifle. It is direct impingement, but the springs are in the top over the bolt instead of your buffer tube. That means we can fold our stock. And there's no buffer tube, everything is working at the top, and it functions differently. But it functions very reliably, and it uses those standard AK mags. And we want to give a big thank you to CMMG for sending the Mk47 Dissent for this review. Now the CMMG Dissent. It has a number of different calibers, different configurations, different Cerakote colors. This is in the armor black, but they do make, in fact, I've never seen another company that makes so many different Cerakote color choices. But this is the Mk47, and that means that it's a 7.62 by 3.9 rifle. And they do make the pistol in this as well. Now the Mk47 originally came out as the Mutant. We did a review on that 8 years ago. And to be honest, it's still one of my favorite 7.62 by 3.9 rifles. It's in the AR style, and it has that direct impingement. It has a buffer tube with a buffer spring. It has a really heavy bolt system. We're going to compare it when we break this down, but this has been a great rifle. Now we're going to check to make sure the gun's unloaded. We've got a nice paddle here. Just rock your AK-47 mag out, and it takes any of your AK mags. Then we're going to check the chamber, and it does have a side charging handle, and the gun is empty. The Dissent uses the standard AK-47 magazines. Here we have a mag pull. These have been limited 5 rounds, so this is a 25 round magazine per YouTube policy. Now before we get started into the details, we're just going to talk a little bit about the overall rifle. This particular model has the 14.5-inch barrel, and it's pin and welded, so it's legal length of 16.1 inches. But that makes it a little bit smaller if it's a 16-inch barrel, which they do offer that as well. Then you can have your muzzle brake that you can change in and out. Now it comes with a CMMG zeroed muzzle brake. This is proprietary for CMMG. They have the side ports, they have upper ports. It is 5/8 by 24-inch threads, so that's standard for more of your 308 30 caliber style thread pitches. Now it has an M-LOK compatible handguard. This is 13.5 inch, is proprietary for CMMG, and of course we have our Picatinny rail all on top. The barrel's 4140 chrome moly vanadium. We have an adjustable gas block. It is direct impingement, just like your standard AR-15 as far as the gas system, and it's what they call their compact action direct impingement. Now the upper and lower receiver are 70-75 T6 aluminum. The lower receiver on a lot of the Dissent models is just your standard mil-spec style, so they had to remove the mag well so these magazines would fit the way AK mags rock and roll. But all the controls are AR-15. And then with the top half, it is a little bit thicker and beefed up. And to be honest, this is more like an AR-10 size. But the rifle overall feels more like an AR-15. You have your shell deflector, we have a dust cover, but we don't have a forward assist. We have an ambidextrous safety. It is low profile. It does have some serrations here, and it's also one of those short throw safety levers. So it's really quick to be able to drop it and to deploy your safety. And the grip is one of the CMMG Zero pistol grips. This can be exchanged for any kind of AR-15 pistol grip. But you press and pull down, and it has a little compartment at the bottom. Has a very unique texturing to it, which fits a lot of the designs of the rifle. The magazine release is ambidextrous, has these large wings on the side, but it also has the paddle here, so I can just take it, pull it out, really simple, locks in, very positive. We have a Rise Armament single stage trigger. It's not quite flat faced, but it has a very vertical angle to it. And we'll take a look at the action, but it's a very quick, and the reset on this thing is phenomenal. Now the stock reminds me of an FN SCAR type stock. It's fully adjustable, and here we have our levers. You can just pull that out, get the length of pull. Also we have a nice rubberized butt pad, QD sockets, and also we have a cheek riser, so we can just lift that up, it locks into place. I really like this cheek riser, it's just very easy. Guys, while this is a direct impingement system, there is no buffer tube, there's no spring or buffer. And that allows us to take our stock and push the button and bring it closed just like this. And it fits to the side. Now, there's no lock to it, but it has a fairly strong detent that's holding it into place. And then it just helps to make this rifle very compact. Now here we have our bolt stop. I'm not going to say bolt release because it doesn't hold open on the last round because the AK-47 magazines do not have a bolt hold open feature. I guess unless you get one. They do make followers that you can put in your magazines that will hold the round open after the last round. You have a hinge pin, and we have our takedown pin right at the back, just like on the AR. We have a non-reciprocating charging handle, and this can be switched very easily to the other side. The design of the receiver is very tasteful, and you see your cuts, and it also extends into your handguard. We were using one of the Trijicon RMO red dot sights. These are built like tanks and just excellent sights, but also one of the Midwest Industries quick detach mounts. Now let's look at the trigger action of the Rise Armament trigger. There is a tiny bit of take up before the break. Reset right there. I mean, that reset is crazy fast. We're going to check the trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge. 3 pounds, 9.4 ounces. 3 pounds, 7.5 ounces. Now the overall length with the 14.5 inch barrel pinned and welded is 32.5 inches. And with the stock folded, it's 26.25 inches. Gets a very small package. And the gun weighs 7.5 pounds. So it's a little bit heavier than your standard AR-15, but it has a heavier bolt, heavier barrel, and that's going to add to the weight. Right, we're going to be using some Red Army Standard from Century Arms, steel cased ammunition. We have the generic boxes and the red box, same difference. And we really appreciate Century Arms for sending this, which we use quite a bit of their ammunition. CMMG makes really great firearms, and a lot of it has to do with their internals. Their recoil management is top notch. We're using some regular PMags, which fit really well in here, and you know, I've had a lot of experience with the Mutant and great AR-15 7.62x39 kind of variant. This is a totally different animal. The recoil system, the bolt's smaller, it shoots lighter. And I love this side charging handle, but yet it has the same kind of manual of arms as your AR-15 except for your magazine loading. But just a great shooting gun. Of course, just pull that side charging handle back, goes right in. It's a really smooth shooting rifle. Nice muzzle brake, keeps things going. You've got a monolithic Picatinny rail. You can put all kind of accessories on here. Of course, you can put backup iron sights. Stock, you know, it's just a kind of that SCAR look to it, but You know, it does fold over, which makes it nice to be able just to put it over. It doesn't have a detent, but comes out. Not necessarily real heavily sturdy, but definitely usable. While we've been shooting it, it's held up really well. It does have a cheek weld right here, and we can bring that down or up, so it gives you options for optics, and then bring it down. And then has the side handle right here. Now, one thing about this stock that I'm not a big fan is I'd like to be able to push this and collapse the stock. You've got to have two hands. Or, you know, you can put it against your body just like that. And then we have the rubberized butt pad. Nice pistol grip, has a lot of texturing, a little bit different than your standard AR, but you can put AR-15 grips on here. But the big story with this rifle is just how well it shoots and how soft it shoots. I mean, CMMG, all the experience I've had with those guys, it's just been excellent. Now, we did have a couple of malfunctions, but they were ammo related. Had a couple of light primer strikes. You know, I checked the ammo. It was definitely a good solid hit. And so, other than that, we have had no malfunctions whatsoever. Now, this is where the magic happens. We're going to look under the hood. Has your standard takedown pin. Now, take your charging handle and you can lift out your recoil springs and the bolt. That is one big beefy bolt. And then you can see the two recoil springs. This is totally different than your standard buffer tube with buffer spring. Now, here's the Dissent bolt and your recoil spring system. Here is your original Mutant, and this is a very large, heavy bolt. So this is going to be going into your buffer tube back and forth, again with the spring and the buffer, and it's just going to add extra weight. With this short action system, it's really efficient, and it's really nice to have it right there in the receiver. Now, this is very similar to the SIG MCX, the way it's set up, and we're just going to show you how to take this bolt system apart. Relieve the tension on your spring, and then just bring around this little collar. This is a polymer piece, and then we're just going to release our spring. Then here on the other side, just relieve your spring, and this will come right off. We can bring out our spring, and then through the bottom, we're going to drop out our guide rods. And then we have this piece right here. It retains one of the guide rods, so it's just going to come right out. And so this area right here is what retains your recoil system. We have our firing pin retaining pin right here. We're just going to pull it right out. Then we'll drop out our firing pin. It's really long, much longer than your standard AR-15. Now here we have our cam pin, and we're going to make sure that it's in place, and then we're going to just drop it right out. This little cutout allows this to come right out. And then we can pull out our bolt. Now, the bolt is very heavy. It's definitely an AR-10 style, and it's important because a lot of your AR-15s that use 7.62 by 3.9 are very thin in this bolt head area. Also, it has 7.62 by 3.9 stamped into the different lugs. We have our extractor right here. We're just going to push the pin through, more like your standard AR-15 or honestly AR-10. But this is your bolt. And I think we'd all be in agreement that we need to clean this. We shot a lot of rounds. Now for reassembly, we're just going to put back our extractor, making sure that our pin is lined up with our extractor. You want to make sure this pin is flush. Take your cam pin, go ahead and put it into place. Then we're going to take our firing pin, slide it in the back. Firing pin retainer pin. Right there. Then we'll take this piece, get it into position. Now you want to make sure that the extended area goes to the front of the bolt, and here with this little area, this is going to attach into that polymer little housing. And so we're going to put those in first from the front. Just right here where your bolt face is. Let's go ahead and put on our springs. Now this can be disassembled here at the end. It's just a small little steel plate. This is the polymer, and so this just fits inside. Now with the bolt in this configuration, this goes on top. And so we're going to bring this together and we're going to rest it on something so we can put some tension on these springs. So we're going to bring this down. We're just going to put it into that groove. Snaps right in, release our spring, bring this down, same thing, it just pops into place. And now we're back in business. Here we have the Rise Armament trigger. It is skeletonized and just gives you a really nice single stage break. It is a trigger pack inside the lower receiver. We have some small feed ramps that are cut into the upper receiver. Now the charging handle rides on this little rod right here that goes in and out of the upper receiver. You can take this right out. In fact, there's a little cutout here at the end and we can turn it around and we can place it on the other side. So real simple to change out. You'll notice that little hook, and it hooks at the front right here and it just snaps into place and it holds it secure. So just lift it up and it'll pull right back, and it's very natural to pull this back. But this little rod in here stays in here. It doesn't come out. Make sure you pull your bolt forward just like you do with your AR, and let's put it in the back of our upper receiver. Just like that. Now we're going to close the action. Go ahead and hit our takedown pin, and we're ready to go. Now the retail price on the Mk47 Dissent is $2,399. And of course market price typically runs less. And that's a considerable amount for a AR-15 AK-47 hybrid type rifle, which obviously is much closer to the AR-15 being a direct impingement system. What are some pros and cons? First, it uses your standard AK-47 magazines. So that's going to make it a big plus for using 7.62 by 3.9. 7.62 by 3.9 is more hard hitting than 2.23 or 5.56 up close and personal. You start to lose accuracy out at distance. The mid-length gas system with the short action direct impingement system makes this a very soft shooting gun. Rise Armament trigger, single stage, really nice. The 45-degree safeties that just make it really short throw. The B&T stock, foldable, adjustable, a lot of great advantages to it. The one con I would have is just pressing this and then having to use two hands to get it open. But of course closing it, folding it, it just makes it more compact. I'm glad they're offering a 14.5-inch barrel with a pin and welded muzzle brake. Just gets it down to the smallest package possible. The side charging handle makes it very natural instead of reaching up behind the receiver to activate the charging handle. And again, it can be switched to the other side. Beautiful Cerakote finish, and they come in a number of colors. The muzzle brake, very effective. But if you get the pin and welded version, you're not going to be able to take it off. And so getting the 16.1-inch barrel will allow you to put on suppressors. But now the bolt system to me is really where it comes in on top. With that larger bolt, and yet it's shorter. It doesn't have quite the weight that the original Mutant had. And then with that short action recoiling system with the two rods. It is very smooth. All the action is more toward the center of your receiver than back to your shoulder. And so it's just a shorter throw, and honestly, it's just easier to control. Especially when you get to 7.62 by 3.9. It does have a little more recoil than your 5.56. Of course, with the Picatinny rail on top, all the way out to the handguard, just gives you a lot of real estate to put different optics, sights, whatever you want to do. It does carry a lot of AR-15 compatible parts, especially in the lower receiver. But honestly, CMMG is putting out some really unique, innovative options that work. They took a design that actually had been proven with the Mutant, and it's an excellent rifle, and they just keep upping their game. And with the Dissent, this is definitely the pinnacle. While I love the AK-47 rifle, it does have its deficits, and to me this addresses it and yet gives you all the AR-15 controls. Guys, if you love 7.62 by 3.9, but you love the ergonomics and the manual of arms of the AR-15, this is one of the best choices out on the market, if not the best. I mean, it gives you that really soft shooting gun. It gives you the standard AK-47 mags that function really well using AK mags. It has the direct impingement system, but it's a very soft shooting system. And again, you can take that folding stock and you can make this a very compact option. So CMMG, to me, they just keep upping the bar. And again, a big thank you to CMMG for sending the Mk47 Dissent for this review. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. which was the predecessor to the Dissent, and that's going to retain those recoil springs. I mean, there's recoil, that's going to retain when you return it to the rifle. That's wrong. Hell, that is so wrong. That's wrong. What's been standard and classic, even better. That sounds like some horse salesman.